All right, so I tried to give myself a little time. I could not come up with an idea. The idea now is to just summarize and go over the ideas of past videos, specifically from today. And before okay, so to get right into it, so we talked. One of the things we talked about was the king snake thing. This idea should be this idea. The problem is that these days everybody's logic is kind of off. You know what I mean? People think about things, and it's so odd because when it's convenient to them, it's like the logic is right, like bang on. Boom, boom, like every little thing is bang on. And when it's something they don't agree with, or that's not convenient, or they dislike, all of a sudden it's, what is that supposed to mean? What is that supposed to mean? What are you talking about? This doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? But specifically talking about the king snake. So let's just kind of review it a little bit. Now let's start with the pirates thing. So I talked about the pirates. Piracy is based on a short-term gain. There's no long thing. Nobody becomes a pirate or ever in history became a pirate and said, one day I will be the best captain ever. And I'm talking in general. Nobody really talks like that. Nobody says, well, I'm going to be a pirate so that I can retire at age 40. You know what I mean? Nobody says that. People get into that game because it's dangerous. And all they have is these short-sighted goals. I would love to loot so much money so that for the next week, I could be drinking a bunch of alcohol, taking drugs, eating good food, and having sex with women or men or whatever they prefer. And that's typically the whole thing. If you don't like your captain, you just do a mutiny, and then you appoint somebody else as a captain. I mean, I guess that's pretty much. I haven't really thought much on the subject, so that's all I had. Now, going to the snake thing. Just to summarize, I mean, this is pretty simple. I'm now don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you cut the head off and the body falls. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's not that they have a head and then the body falls. I'm not. Don't kind of twist this around. What I'm saying is that you could have a whole habitat. Look, a little ant hill, right? It's so small to us. You know what I mean? It's very small, right? You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? And for them, there's a whole world in there. I mean, for them, there's like, who knows how many ants are in one anthill? That's an actual city there. So if you were to think of a habitat, a small habitat, and the snakes in that habitat, for them, that's a city. And then if you're talking about an entire city, for them, that's a world or a nation, right? It's not about cutting the head off or anything. It's just that they are groomed, and rightfully so. They are not only are they groomed, but they have those characteristics and tendencies in them. I talked about garden snakes too. They're harmless, but they're still snakes. And all these snakes, typically all the snakes, the thing is that the snakes are so complex. You know what I mean? When we talk about crocs and rabbits and things like that, very simple to understand. A lion is so simple to understand. So are hyenas, and their prey. Snakes are very difficult to understand. They are highly difficult to understand. But I'll tell you one thing about them. When you have a city of snakes, or a nation of snakes, right? I'm sorry, I might not be talking typical National Geographic or whatever, but this is what I think. It's what I know. So, typically there will be one king snake, and all the snakes will bow down to him. All the snakes will bow down to the king snake, right? All their genetics, they are genetically made for that. Even though, whether you're poisonous, whether you're a garden snake, whatever you are, right? At the end of the day, this king snake has groomed you. This king snake has influenced you, and this king snake has been like he's been everything for that whole community. So what did I say? Well, you take the king snake. Well, first of all, what I talked, and now let's make this real. Taking a king snake out is so difficult. It is so difficult. Like you would have to be, and I talked about this. You would have to be a king croc to take out a king snake. An average, your typical croc or your common croc is not gonna be able to take out a king snake. Never. He'll never even have the opportunity. I'm not saying he's not fast enough or big enough. I'm saying he'll never have the opportunity. Because that king snake is running everything in that community. He is running everything, right? You wouldn't believe it. Like that king croc would, even if he doesn't know he's good, he'd have to be really good. Okay, and I gave a bit of an example and a story on that. So my thing. So I gave in hindsight, it was kind of like king croc comes out, and he sees garden snakes, right? And they're kind of tentative, kind of timid. The whole by the way, the animal world watches everything that other animals do. There's birds everywhere up high. There's animals everywhere. So they're out in public, right? And the king croc or the croc, he's looking at these garden snakes. And if let's say this king, okay, he's looking at the garden snakes, right? And he's thinking to himself, you know what I mean? He's thinking to himself, should I, it's like what's going on? And you'll notice this about the animals, right? They kind of observe. And sometimes they're watching and they look like they're confused. The croc's looking at the garden snakes and he's confused. He's looking at them and he's saying, is this my competition? Is this a predator? He's thinking to himself, is this a predator? Can I attack this or should I attack this? And he's looking and he's thinking about it and it's not making sense to him. I mean, he's a king croc. He's very good. So it's not going to make sense to him. So he's looking at it. He goes, no matter how bad, he could be hungry. He could be upset. When crocs get hungry, they're very upset. So he could be hungry and upset and he'll still hold back, right? Now, this holding back may give that king snake a false sense of security. If this keeps happening, the king snake will feel like the king snake seeing that his subordinates are not being attacked by the croc, knowing that he's running everything, is thinking that it's because of him. So he's thinking he's so good, he's so good and he's so elusive, he can pretty much just walk in front of that croc. And I'll tell you one thing, no, typically he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't walk in front of the average croc. But this is a king croc. He wants to make a point. He wants to make a point and make an appearance in front of the king croc. He wants to make a point with not only within his community of snakes, but within all the other animals. I'm walking out right in front of the king croc, just like the garden snakes were doing. He's not gonna do anything. Snap, 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 snap. Bye, bye, king snake. Right? Boom! It's done. All right. And it's done. Now, why? What else is there? What else is there to review? I got a couple minutes left. Well, what else is there to review? Talked about pirates and snakes. Other stuff I don't really want to talk about that much. Can I complete anything? What else could I say? There's really not much else to be said. That is what it is. You know what I mean? That's all it is. I don't know. Well, you know what? We're a little short on the time. I wanted to keep the video longer, but it is what it is. It's done. And I'm going to end it here. And I'm going to say good night.